Viewer discretion is advised. Go where no man has gone before.
In your face. It'll knock your socks off.
Broadcasting live from 39-degree downtown Cleveland, it's station WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. The wonderful flashing G stands for me, your host, Grumpy. And unfortunately, our show is brought to you by the Grumpy Mummy Vulture Productions. Oh, yep, he's still bandaged. And holy shit, what the hell's happening with my tablet?
Block crush.
What the hell is going on here? Jesus. God damn it. The tablet just went berserk.
Wow!
That's what I said. How you doing tonight, Kathy? I'm tired of this cold-ass Cleveland weather. Jesus. You know, Thursday, or was it Wednesday? We were in the high 70s. I'm walking around, long sleeve shirt, beautiful weather. Then we get a goddamn raging rainstorm, and then the temperature drops. I mean, we're supposed to be in spring. Goopy ass Cleveland weather. Jesus, I got shit to take care of. What are you, about 68 down there? Oh, I lucked out. Not a drop. I got tired of getting up like every hour and going and checking the goddamn basement, because a lot of times what will happen, it'll stop raining. And then we get all that suburban water. Well, I'd take 56 over 38 any day, but yeah, that's cold for your area. Yeah, I got lucky. I mean, there was Zippo. Now, I don't have to go all the way down the basement. See, I can stand at the top of the stairs and shine a flashlight down at my drain in the floor and see if there's any water. But it was just the pain in the ass of having to constantly get out of bed, put on my sweatpants, walk to the kitchen, down to the landing, take a look. Oh, you're going to be cold. You're going to have Cleveland weather. I don't know what the hell. I didn't even look to see what the forecast is for next week here. And you've lived up here, so you know Easter. We have had Easters where it fucking snowed, and we have had Easters where it was like 80 degrees. So the weather is always a toss-up. But I remember a couple of Easters where, God, we were in shorts and T-shirts, and then I remember a couple of Easters when we had a fucking foot of snow on the ground. Although we haven't had snow for Easter in quite a few years, thanks to global warming. What the hell? A tablet lock up again? Take two. Thanks to global warming. I can never get this tablet to cooperate. Yeah, I can remember having an Easter where my parents would make us dress up and I'd be in, a little suit. Well, not little, I was probably 8 to 11 years old, and then come home and it's 78 degrees, and begging, can I take this suit off? Then we would have to do the obligatory Easter pictures like we were, this big happy family. And then I could put on shorts and a T-shirt. And then I can remember Easters where you're looking for boots and an overcoat and gloves. Like I say, since global warming has come in, we haven't had snow on Easter for a while. But over the years, it's been hot, it's been cold, it's been rainy, it's been snowy. I didn't check. I don't know if Cleveland's having an Easter parade this year. I'll have to check. Not that I would go. I'm trying to think what the weather was like. See, to me, it's another fucking day. I haven't celebrated Easter, shit, 30 years. All right, no. About 25, 26. Now, that upper 80s, oh, that would be beautiful up here. Although it would be beautiful down there, too. I get the impression Tennessee has a bit of goofy weather, but nothing like what we have here in Ohio. That's why they've made the joke. If you don't like Cleveland weather, wait 10 minutes. It will change. But to me, it's another Sunday. I miss the big dinners, though. God, my grandmother would put on a spread for Easter. Well, every holiday. Well, like I said, you have a little bit of goofy weather. A little bit. Nothing like here. God, Cleveland, it can be 80 at noon, and by 2 o'clock it's fucking snowing. I mean, that's how goofy the weather is in this city. But like you say, to me, it's another Sunday. I mean, even my sister isn't really doing anything. Like she said, I bust my ass all week at work. I'm just gonna relax. And even like she said to me, it'll be another Sunday to me because, well, she's gonna do a little bit for the granddaughter, the obligatory Easter basket and a couple of photo ops, but that's about it. Especially since she has this new position at work, lifting engines off the end of the assembly line. Boy, I'll tell you, today, just for the hell of it, I decided to go on the Facebook, the Facebook.
WTF?
Take two, Facebook Market Junkyard. I cannot believe people there was this beautiful, and I mean beautiful, 1990 Suzuki, I can't remember, like a touring bike. The girl wanted $1,000. And in the description it said, runs fine, have memorandum title and finance papers showing vehicle paid in full. No title. So I messaged her and I said, if you've got the finance papers showing it paid in full and you have a memorandum, the title number is on there, all you would have to do is take that down to the title bureau and get a title. I don't own it. I said, well, who owns it? My ex-boyfriend. I said, you can't sell it. You don't own it. Well, wherever she's storing it, they want it out of there. And she's got nowhere to put it. I said, you can't sell it. You can't even sell a part off of it. Because if you part that bike out and your boyfriend suddenly shows up and reports it stolen, everybody that's got a piece of that motorcycle is guilty of receiving stolen property, and you'll get in trouble for selling it. I said, where's your boyfriend? I don't know. He went out west. I said, you can't sell that bike. So then, I come across a 1980 Yamaha touring bike. Absolutely gorgeous. The woman had it parked in her kitchen. All the photographs were in the kitchen. One side shot showed the sink, the microwave. When she took a shot of the back of it, it showed the washer and dryer. When she took a shot of the other side, there was the kitchen table. This big-ass touring bike in her kitchen. So I messaged her because I wouldn't mind picking up another motorcycle, although I haven't ridden in 25 years. So I messaged her. Same thing. No title. I said, why don't you have a title? Same situation. Boyfriend left it at her house and vanished. I said, you can't sell it. You don't own it to sell it. Yeah, she's keeping an eye on it, all right. But she has no idea where her boyfriend is. She said the last she knew he was down somewhere in Florida. She had no contact with him. I'll tell you what, I would have loved to have that bike. And then there was a 98 Ford Explorer Sport Track. Now the Sport Track basically was a front end of a Ford Explorer, and then behind the second row of seats, they had a bed. So it looks like a little pickup truck, but it is absolutely spotless. Beautiful. Beautiful. Out of Florida. Sitting west of Cleveland. This thing was your typical Florida vehicle. Not a spot of rust on it. Gorgeous interior. no motor. It explained why the guy only wanted $500. I spotted that and I was like, whoa, because I've wanted one of them for years. Then I found another one. It was a little rough around the edges. It was out in Painesville. No title. I didn't even bother asking on that one. Then there was a 2001 Ford Ranger 4x4 with a manual transmission. Runs perfect, good clutch, new brakes, something else, fuel pump. No title. I'm like, why are people advertising vehicles for sale when you can't legally sell them? I mean, right now, I'm in that same situation. Now, I know there's a title, and hopefully April 15th, there'll be a title transfer, but that would be like me trying to sell the Passat. You know, $3,000 in repairs, runs perfect, looks great, no rust, no damage, no title. And see, they changed the law in Ohio about 20 years ago. You could take and go to the Bureau of Motor Vehicles and do a VIN number search. And if they didn't come up with a recent, I think it had to be 10 years. If the vehicle was not registered for 10 years and there was no apparent owner, as a matter of fact, I remember the code was 4505.08 in the Ohio Revised Code, where you could get an abandoned vehicle title. Well, so many people were doing illegal shit that Ohio did away with that. That code doesn't even exist anymore. The only way anybody can get an abandoned motor vehicle title would be like a tow company, where they tow a vehicle in, they make every possible way of locating an owner, and if they don't get a response, even if they find an owner and they send out the proper paperwork stating, hey, if you don't claim it, we're going to take title to it, then the state will issue a title. But the average person can't do that. Like a barn find. You know, years ago, if you found a vehicle in a barn, and there was no apparent owner, you could get a title for it. Not anymore. Arizona is different. Like my friend who found that the hell year is that thing? 54 or 55 Studebaker Commander in a storage container in the middle of the desert? And they did a VIN number search and they couldn't locate anybody that owned it. She got title to it. She did some restoration work, and it's her daily driver because she's into old vehicles. Hell, she's got I think a 53 Chevy pickup, another abandoned vehicle that she found in a barn or something, and I think she's got a 58 Chevy pickup. But you can't do that here in Ohio. Because too many people, screwing around, probably stolen vehicles. I don't know for what reason they changed the law, but I mean, back several years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I went to a repair garage over in old Brooklyn. And back in the corner was oh God, what the hell year was that Fiat? It was like a 67 or 68 Fiat Spider. And the car was gorgeous. I mean, it had about a foot of dust on it from sitting. And I asked the guy, I said, what's with the Fiat in the corner? He says, well, about 15 years ago, a guy brought it in for repair. I repaired it, and he never picked it up. And I've tried to locate him, and the guy either dropped off the face of the earth or passed away. I said, well, you want to sell it? He said, I don't own it. I said, well, you're a garage keeper. You can file for an abandoned title. Because I would like to buy that Fiat Spider. He said, it's not worth my time. It's been sitting there for 20 years. It can sit there until the shop caves in around it. Oh, God. I says to him, I said, it's an easy process. I told him, I said, matter of fact, I'll get you all the paperwork. I'll fill it all out for you. You sign it. And I'll pay the filing fee. Nope. Oh, I wanted that car. A little red Fiat Spider convertible. Guy wouldn't budge. Matter of fact, when I go to the title bureau, I'm going to ask them. I'm going to tell the girl, hey, if I owned a vehicle and say I had it in storage for like 20 years and I lost the title, and I wanted to bring it out of storage and start driving it. Under this new law, how would I ever go about getting a title? Even if I had proof of ownership. Because technically, it's considered no longer, basically it's considered it no longer exists because it hasn't been registered in so many years. But there must have been at least 20 vehicles. No title, no title, no title, no title. And then some of the vehicles, there was a girl that had a Saturn, the hell was that SUV? View, I think it was a Saturn View. Beautiful vehicle. It was either a 2001 or 2002. And as much as I didn't want an automatic, I was kind of turned on to that vehicle. So I messaged her, and I said, I'd like to talk to you about it. And she gave me her phone number. This thing needed so much work. It needed an oil pan, it needed an alternator, it needed a fuel pump, it needed brake lines. But to look at this thing, it was spotless. I said, I'll pass, thank you. Then I found what the hell year was that goddamn Jeep? 2010, 2012 Jeep Commander. Now, that is the big SUV with 3-row seating. They only made it a couple years. The inside was full of trash, although the guy explained, I got kids. Well, yeah, you got kids. Don't you know how to clean out a vehicle? All it needed was an alternator and a thermostat. So I messaged him because, boy, this thing would have looked impressive with my roof bar on it. And I can't remember exactly how much he was asking. It was reasonable, very reasonable. So he gave me his number. And I asked him how bad the thermostat was. Is it drivable? Well, it's kind of. I said, what does kind of mean? Well, it overheats. Okay, that means the thermostat is either the water pump isn't working right or the thermostat is stuck shut. So I asked him, can I come see it? Are you serious? Well, I said, I could be. I said, I'm not going to buy it by pictures. I'd like to hear it run. I'd like to really look it over. Well, unless you're serious, I'm not going to waste my time. I said, evidently you really don't want to sell it. I said, how many people have contacted you about this? Well, you're the first one. How long has it been on Faceplant Market Space? 2 weeks. I said, in 2 weeks, I'm the only person to call you or message you. Yeah. You don't want to let me look at it. Well, not unless you're serious. I said, how about we meet in the middle? I'm serious about looking at it. Click. Why did he bother listing it? Did he think I was going to, like, cash app him $2,000? Well, I'm not going to waste my time unless you're serious. I told him I'm serious about looking at it. Why bother listing shit on... I discovered today that Faceplant Market Junk is as bad as Craigslist. Are you serious? I think he was wanting me to say, yeah, I'm going to buy it right now. Give me your Cash App. I'll Cash App you $2,000 and I'll take the vehicle. I can guarantee if this is his attitude, it ain't never going to sell. Because I don't know anybody that would buy something just by looking at pictures. It's almost as bad as the guy that bought a Passat without a title. Well, like I say, Kathy, when he said, are you serious? I said, well, I'm serious about looking at it. I guess he thinks people are going to run out, put money in his hand without even attempting to drive it. Yeah, he tells me, he said, well, we'd probably have to jump start it because the battery's dead. Okay. No problem. I got brand new jumper cables. We'll jump it. I'd like to drive it around the block, you know, make sure the transmission's all right, brakes are okay. No, he wanted somebody to say, I'll take it right now. Give me your Cash App. I'll send you the money. It's like buying a pig in a poke, you know? I could get out there and transmission's bad, power steering's leaking all over, you know. Are you serious? Well, I'm serious about looking at it and driving it, and I don't want to be bothered. Why bother taking the photos and putting an ad if you don't want to be bothered? And then there was a Toyota, it was a 99 Toyota pickup, four-wheel drive, manual. It had a new fuel pump, new tires, new battery, no title. I was really excited on that Toyota pickup. That thing was clean. No title. How on God's green earth do people expect to sell something with no title? I mean, at least I know one exists for my car. We know that there's an actual piece of paper. If I'll ever see it, believe me, I'll be checking the docket to see how that hearing went on the 15th if I don't get a phone call. And if it says granted, then how long are you going to take to get it in my hands? Because I would like to be legal. I would like to drive this without having to take an overdose of blood pressure medication, especially when I drive into Parma. I mean, you know, I want to get that window fixed, because now we're getting into the good weather where I'd like to put the window down. And I'd like to get my new key fob taken care of. I hate having one key. Boy, that makes me nervous, having one key. Because I learned the hard way years ago. I had what the hell was that goddamn car? Oh God, it was a Dodge, but it was actually a Mitsubishi. And Chrysler Corporation had a deal like GM had with Toyota. They brought in this, I can't remember it wasn't a Dart, but it was a little foreign car. It was a Mitsubishi with a Dodge name on it. And I only had one key. Well, my key ring broke, and I lost all my keys. I lost the key to the car, I lost the house key, I lost the key to the lock on my garage. What else? I lost all my keys. I had to disassemble the steering column and remove the ignition cylinder, take it to a key shop, and have a key made. It was like $60, which was big money back in the 70s. Luckily, I had a spare house key and I had a spare, but my car sat at work for like a week and a half. I had to get a ride back and forth to work until I could put the ignition cylinder back in it and drive it. I said, never again will I own any vehicle with one key. And here I am. Well, I don't own it yet. But it would be nice, to walk up and hit the key fob and unlock the door. Hit the key fob, open the trunk. Walk away, hit the key fob, lock the car. No, the Polera was a big fucking honking. I remember the Polera. That was a big honking. This was imported from Mitsubishi, and it had a Dodge name on it, but it was a little foreign car. Hey, Oodles, how you doing there, buddy? Yeah, it would be nice if I had a remote start, but the Passat isn't set up for a remote start. I mean, I went online and I got the factory key fob. There's a couple of them. There's a website. You get the original factory reconditioned key fob. I've got it right here. I have to have the key cut, and then I have to have the fob programmed, which I already talked to the key shop, and it's going to be $75. Because I told him, I said, my key fob shorted out, it don't work. He goes, he said, I can work around that. But I would like to have just a second key. There it is. There's the new key fob. And then I got this fancy titanium steel key fob case. Oh. Because if I would lose my key fob, I'm screwed. Because in the manual, it says basically that the car came with 2 key fobs, and then it came with a valet key. Well, they can't find the other key fob. They can't find the valet key. They don't know what the hell got done with it. I got 1 key fob. And it's that goofy... Hang on a second. I have them hanging on my key rack. It's that goofy flat key with squiggles. Doesn't even look like a key. It's got squiggles. And there's only one locksmith in my area that cuts these and programs them. And he wants $75. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him if I order another key fob, will he give me a break on cutting it and programming that? That way I will have 2 brand new key fobs, and I'll put the original away in my dresser. Yep. How'd you, oh, well, you probably saw the VW on the key fob there, oodles. Yeah. You probably, the dead giveaway. I like this. It's like a switchblade. You push a button. Yeah, it's a switchblade. Push button. Get your fingers out of the way. Take 2. Take 3. I kind of like that. It's like a weapon. But it's a stupid... All it's got is squiggles. Squiggles. But it takes a special machine to cut this. And there's, like I say, there's only one place I can get this done. Unfortunately, it's in Lakewood, and there ain't no way I'm driving into Lakewood until I legally own this car. Yeah, Chevy had them too. My son had a, what the hell year was that? 2016 Impala, and it had the switchblade key. Yeah, that would have been something my mother would have... Put that key fob down, you'll put your eye out. I mean, it's a novel idea. As a matter of fact, if I remember right, the key was identical on my son's 2016 Impala. It had squiggles. Because when I looked at it, I goes, this ain't even a key. The salesman said, yeah, watch. He puts it in the ignition and turned it, and I was like, oh, okay. Supposedly, the manufacturers came out with these keys to make it harder to duplicate them. Because I remember years ago, I had a friend that was a little bit dishonest. And he would take a key and put an impression in wax. And then he would take that wax impression and put in like liquid plastic that would harden. And then he would take that plastic key on a key machine, and he was able to cut a key. And then he could steal somebody's car with a key. I can't remember there is one Impala SS, and GM didn't make that many of them, that had a manual transmission. They're extremely rare. I can't remember. It's like the last year that they made them. I'll say, or I'll throw out a year like 2012. Impala Super Sport with a manual. They were special order. Because I remember seeing a thing on Haggerty's website, and they were saying that Impala is highly collectible because they only made like 2,000 with manual transmissions or something. They're kind of like a rare car. I thought something was swimming in my coffee. Just my imagination. That's like right now I'm on a search for a 2010 Ford F-150 because that's the last year that they put a manual transmission in an F-150. So far, I haven't found one. I check quite often just to have an oddball. You know, an oddball truck to go with an oddball old man. But 2010 was the cutoff point for manual transmissions in F-150s. I did find one. It needed a clutch. And I'll pass. Yeah, I found one a couple years ago. Beautiful truck. Truck was really in nice shape. But the guy told me he blew the clutch. And I don't have the facilities to drop a transmission and change a clutch and a flywheel. That's like I want my buddy's girlfriend's Chevy Cruze. Because it's got a diesel in it. Her father worked for GM, and it was like one of the last diesels to come off the assembly line before they closed the Cruze plant. And she hardly drives it. And I've told her many times, I want that car. Even though it's an automatic, that's the drawback, it's an automatic, but I want it because it's an oddball. It was a special order with a diesel in it. I go after them oddball vehicles. I wish I had my, God, what the hell year was that Toyota pickup I had? I had a Toyota pickup with a 4-cylinder diesel and a 5-speed. And it had like 260,000 miles on it. A guy bought it brand new. He lived out in Wyoming. And then he got transferred, his company transferred him to Cleveland. And he traded it in. And I happened to work for the dealer at the time. And I saw this thing sitting on the back of the used car lot. And I says to the used car manager, I said, what's with that Toyota in the back? He goes, oh, it's a goddamn stinking diesel. I said, how much? He gave me a ridiculous price. I don't know, $300, $400. I said, I'll take it. And I owned that thing. I had it for 4 years. Now, mind you, it had 260,000 miles on it. And I had called the owner. He was the original owner. It was a one-owner vehicle. He said that motor had never been apart. And I'll tell you what, in the coldest days of winter, it started, and I didn't even plug it in because it had a block warmer. But then the frame broke. I could have had it fixed. I parted with it. Oh, Range Rover. Oodle. I like the what are they, like the 90s? They were huge. Them Range Rovers were monsters back in the day. I would have loved to had one of them. I remember there was a guy lived a couple of blocks from me, had one. It was huge. It was like the size of a small bus. I thought it was a Genesis. Because he does he did a commercial for them, plus the last golf tournament that he played in, they were his sponsor, Genesis. That's what I thought it was. Was it a Rover? I saw the pictures in the news, but they didn't have a good enough picture. Yeah, he DUI. He was on drugs. That's the second one. Remember when he flipped that, he broke his leg, and they thought his golf career was over? Now, that was a Genesis that he destroyed that time, because that was they gave him that fucking vehicle because they sponsored him in the tournament. It was a Rover, huh? Well, he must have been flying, because that's one of the hardest vehicles to roll, because those suckers are built to go out in frickin' Sahara, out in Africa. But years ago, when he got in that wreck, that was a brand new Genesis SUV, because they gave that thing to him. They sponsored him in the golf tournament, and they gave him that fucking car, and then he totaled it. Yeah, I guess he has to stick to golf, because he can't drive for shit. What was that, like 5 years ago, 8 years ago, that he totaled that? Although I remember when his wife caught him cheating, and she beat the fuck out of that SUV that he had. She broke all the windows in it, and can't remember what SUV that one was. Yeah, he doesn't do too well driving cars. You know, Oodles, I wouldn't trust that. I wouldn't. I mean, yeah, they keep improving the self-driving. I wouldn't. There was a YouTube video. Oh, God, it was, I think I saw it last year. And it was a dash cam from a highway patrol car. Oh, I can't remember what state. And the guy had the self-driving Tesla. And he had the car in self-driving mode, and he was reading a book or something, driving down the road, and he got pulled over, and they cited him. Because the state said, we don't care if the car can drive itself, you got to have your hands on the steering wheel. Oh, you got that one right, Oodles. That's a good, yeah. I could see ordering an Uber. It'd pull up and I open the door and Tiger Woods is driving. I'll be, Cancel. I'll walk.
Wow!
Yeah, that'd be scary having him as your Uber driver. So I'm sorry, I'll call a Lyft. You know, you would think he would have straightened up his act by now. Especially, you know, that last accident he had, busting his leg, and, you know, the doctors putting him back together to the point where he could play golf again. You would think he would clean up his act. You know, it's unfortunate he's not the golfer he used to be. I mean, he can still hit a golf ball, but not like he was back in the day when he won just about every frickin' tournament he played in. How many times did he win the Masters? 2 or 3? And isn't he dating Trump's son's ex-wife? I read something about that, because Trump was making excuses for him. Oh, he's got some problems. I think he's dating Trump's son's ex-wife. Because he's been at the White House many times. Not to mention, you know, Trump gets free golf lessons. Yeah, I couldn't think of her name. Oh, 4 or 5. Oh, okay. I thought 3. He got more green jackets than he knows what to do with. Because besides getting the money and the big trophy, you get that fancy green blazer. Let's hope he wasn't wearing that when he got in the accident. At least he didn't screw himself up this time. Evidently, he must have been wearing a seatbelt. But he needs to clean his act up. His poor father is rolling in his grave right now. Although after his father passed, that's when he started going downhill. You would think with someone that's got the fame and the fortune that he's got, he would straighten up already. He'll probably lose his license this time. Although a lot of states, they give you three chances. Yeah, he had to be flying, though. I'll tell you one thing, Texas, they don't fool around. You get your third DUI, you go to prison. They don't screw around with you down there. You get your third DUI, you get a prison sentence. I don't know how many years it is, but you're making license plates for a while. Yeah, he'll probably have to take some remedial driving course and they'll slap him on the hands, you know. He needs to go into rehab. Maybe they'll demand it this time. You want your license? Go to rehab. Because they basically said it wasn't booze. It was medication. It's just sad, you know, the career that he had. But money goes to your head. Fame and fortune goes to your head. I mean, I realize he's probably, legally he's got pain. But, you know, quit abusing the drugs already. Yeah, you could make good money driving him around. I'm sure he'd be quite generous. Oodles the chauffeur. Yeah, besides that, you know, any bank which you'd have to drive him to, you'd get, you know, a nice fillet mignon and a lobster tail to go with it. Maybe you get lucky enough to get your own Genesis or Land Rover. A job perk. God, you would think with the money that he's got, he'd have a driver. Especially after that last accident he had. You'd think that he'd wise up. You could get business cards made up. 1-800-OODLES. Professional driver. There you go. Tell him you'll work reasonable. You'll make sure that he gets everywhere on time, safe. 1-800-OODLES. Oh, God, I'm trying to think. The other night I heard a British glass commercial. Oh, God. It was like the Safe Light, but I can't remember the name of the glass company. It was like, O'Shaughnessy will fix, O'Shaughnessy will replace. It wasn't replace. It was fix instead of repair. I think it was renew. Like, O'Shaughnessy will fix, O'Shaughnessy will renew. It was some British glass company. I can't think of the name of the goddamn glass company. No, I don't remember carpet company commercials. I guess I never paid much attention. No, I don't remember any carpet company commercials. I don't know why. Maybe because you didn't hear them as many times as you hear Safe Light, because you even hear them in YouTube videos when the police are busting out somebody's car window. No, I don't. I'm racking my mind, Doodles. I don't remember any carpet commercials. Now you're going to drive me crazy, because I'm going to be thinking, carpet commercials. No, well, you're going to drive me crazy, Oodles. No, I'm racking my mind trying to think. Empire carpet. It sounds familiar. I can't think of the slogan, though. God, I can remember the commercial with them rolling out the carpet. I mean, it was like a cartoon commercial. Oh, I remember the commercials, because it was like a cartoon, There was like a living room, and this caricature, he rolled out the carpet, but I can't remember the slogan for Empire. It's coming back. I can't. Oh, my neighbor blasting his Puerto Rican music. He had a sound system put in his Honda. Every time he comes home, he's blasting the fuck out of the goddamn stereo. Yeah, he had fancy rims and tires put on it. And then he had this ghetto blaster stereo system installed. No wonder his wife left him. Christ, the windows in his car vibrate, and the windows on the side of my house vibrate when he comes home. And he's not a young guy either. Got to be in his mid to late 40s. Tell him, grow up already. Was the phone number 1-800-EMPIRE? It's slowly coming back. 1-800-EMPIRE. Am I close? Oh, you're going to drive me crazy, Oodles. Now I'm going to have to try to find one. Hopefully there's one on YouTube. I vaguely remember, but it don't stick with me like some of the commercials. I miss the old let Hertz put you in the driver's seat. I always wanted to do a takeoff on that commercial where they screw up, and instead of a convertible, it's a sedan, and they drop the guy in the roof, and he slide down the windshield off the hood, and the car runs him over. I always wanted to do a commercial like that. Let Hertz put you in the... Oh! Yeah, drop the guy on the roof, he slide down the windshield off the hood, and the car run him over. I never had the kind of money to contact a production company to make me a commercial like that. Although I'm sure with AI, I could figure getting one made today, but I always wanted to do a takeoff on... Although you don't even hear that commercial anymore. That's when OJ was their spokesperson. Yeah, I remember, yeah. 588-2300 Empire. I think that's the way it went. It's slowly coming back. You got to remember, I got old-timers disease. I'm lucky I can remember my name at times. That's why I had these pens made up that say stolen from the grumpy old man. Yeah, they're bamboo. And they say, stolen from the grumpy old man. Yeah, because they had that cartoon guy rolling out the carpet. The room conveniently was always empty. 580 to 300 Empire. Now we have to see, because, YouTube's got all kinds of shit. We have to see if we can find that commercial. There's got to be one out there. I wonder if they're still in business. I haven't seen an Empire commercial in years. Maybe it's getting too expensive. I'd rather see that than some of these goddamn commercials for generic Viagra. God, they're disgusting. Oh my God, those commercials are absolutely disgusting. Especially the one I saw last night. I don't know why they have to get women for those generic Viagra commercials that have five-gallon bucket breasts hanging out of their clothing. I can't wait until it comes up, skip. And last night they played that commercial over and over and over and over. It's almost as bad as them Skechers ads with Sophia Viagra. Walking around in a negligee. What the hell's that got to do with slip-in tennis shoes? Speaking of slip-in, guess who just slipped in? You're a few minutes late. I showed you that picture, didn't I? The one I took of him yesterday. I'm pretty sure I showed it. Nothing but belly. There he is. Nothing but belly. The walking belly. That's the way he sleeps all the time, too. He'll get in bed next to me. The walking belly. Yes, I'm making fun of you. I'm showing off your picture. Yeah, I'm showing off your picture. All right, I'll feed you, fatso.
That's it, I'm through.
All right, people. I have to feed Billyzilla. He's starving. Yeah, Billyzilla. All right. We know where right here, WDWL TV, home of not one, but 2 stars on the Hollywood Walk of Fame and an Oscar. All right, everybody, thanks for being here. It's been another fun night, and we will meet again right here tomorrow night. And with that, everyone, take care, and we will see you tomorrow. See ya!